Our story begins as a ruthless robber baron directs his gang of gunfighters to go out and intimidate landowners into selling their property so he can expand his railroad empire. Or maybe own all of the grazing land? Or maybe all the oil or gold? We don't actually know, and I guess it doesn't really matter. Unfortunately for these idiot criminals, one of the farmers they go after is former Marshal James Anderson, who, the game notes right away, retired after his itchy trigger finger got him in trouble.
Yeah, you kill a few men before a jury give you permission to, and they fire you. Ain't fair. No, sir.
The robber baron's sadistic henchmen kill Anderson's wife, kidnap his daughter, and burn his damn house down.
Stop it, please! Run, Sarah! Run!
Oh, don't cry, woman. Remember, to weep is to make less the depth of grief.
Of course, there's nothing to do but kill all of those filthy varmints, so after a suitably long period of mourning, James straps on his six-gun, and we pretty much sprint through a succession of levels that give us the world tour of cardboard cutout towns, obligatory train levels, and foreboding desert scenery that every Western must retread. Simplicity itself.
Sarah.
The first level is actually a good one for us to take a closer look at because it highlights some of the design principles that I just find completely lacking in most shooters these days. Games back in the 90s couldn't really be cinematic, so the ones that really tried to sell you on their quality did so with more complexity. Outlaws is in the same general mold as Doom or Wolfenstein 3D, but it's actually a completely different game, and I argue a different genre from those games entirely, because while you are shooting, you're also solving the level like a puzzle. So let's look at this first one, and see how it teaches us the mindset of this particular game. After the cutscene showing Anderson track his daughter to this place, you're dropped just inside the farm with your horse waiting faithfully nearby. The level takes place outside, and besides the boundaries of the farm itself, it's fairly wide open, with four main structures that you can walk right up to at any time and in any order. The designers unhelpfully point you toward the small farmhouse, which is not the main objective, but which encourages exploration. We find we need the steel key to get in, so we add that to our mental checklist, and we make some inferences. What can we surmise? First, that there's probably something important inside the small farmhouse, or else it wouldn't be locked. Second, that there's a key stashed somewhere, and that we're going to need to find it to get in. Time to move on. It's important to note the enemy placement outside the farmhouse, too. As you round the corner, there's an enemy in your blind spot, and two distant enemies. Okay, well, let's open fire. Quickly, we see that the range of our pistol is limited, and that its ammo is also limited. And that enemy in the corner tells us that we need to watch our blind spots, or else we'll be catching a lot of lead. Close range wounds also hurt more, which we'll also find out if we get hit by the guy behind us. If we follow the contours of the level, the next structure we encounter is the horse stable. This one structure actually teaches us a lot about the game and the tactics we'll need. We have more enemies in concealed positions or lurking behind closed doors. There's what I think is supposed to be a ladder that leads up to a second floor, which tells us we'll need to consider actual 3D level design here. We encounter another locked door, this one requiring the iron key. Up top, we encounter enemies who duck behind low walls and hay bales for cover. After clearing out these varmints, we lay hands on the steel key, which is for a door we haven't encountered yet. Things tend to occur in threes, so we can surmise that we're going to be hunting down lots of iron, steel, and brass keys. And we will. Following the level further, we encounter another structure that turns out to be a chicken run with a few enemies inside. as well as a secret door with an enemy who, on harder modes, can shred you with his dual pistols, further reinforcing that you should be careful about how you explore when in enclosed spaces. Right nearby is the large farmhouse, our main objective as it turns out. But, it also turns out, it needs a brass key, which we don't have. But we do have the steel key, which opens the small farmhouse. It's a shooting gallery of bandits, including a new enemy we haven't met before, the riflemen, whose weapons have range and bite. After we clear the place, we stomp upstairs for more shooting and the iron key. Back outside, our circuit takes us immediately to the horse stables again, where we now have the iron key we needed to open that locked door. We troop back there and open up the door, finding two jerks with guns and a hole in the ground that leads to a dark tunnel. We've got a lamp, though, according to the instruction manual, so we light it and after a scary trek through the dark, find ourselves in the basement of a building. If we're paying attention to our map, we know this is actually a large farmhouse. We sneaked in! You can sneak through the basement with your light off gunning down bandits, but if you explore, you soon find the Sheriff's Badge, which is the Berserk super power-up of this game. I think it reduces the damage you take, but it definitely feels like it ups what you dish out. And then, oh my children, you gun down a busload of bad guys. It feels very much like the kind of kick down the door and shoot everybody scene in Last Man Standing or some such movie. After this genocide, you head upstairs for more gunplay. Hilariously, you pick up the brass key, and this is essentially the last lesson the game is teaching you. It is saying, hey, guess what? It's stupid to think that you would find the key to a locked front door of a house outside of that house. It is saying, use your head. The game has just flat out told you that you should never assume that just because a door is locked, that the solution to getting past it is to hunt down a key when you might be able to find another way around. As your last act, you barge into an upstairs storeroom where Slim Sam Fulton awaits you behind some crates. Slim doesn't move, but he's entrenched, and he'll blow your head off if you don't act carefully. A few well-placed shots, and you've gunned down your first boss.
No, please.
Level 2 takes you to a town filled to the gunwales with asshole gunmen. This is another interesting setting, one I won't go into as intricate detail about, but it's worth looking at because it's just such an unconventional level design. And, full disclosure, because it was the demo level of Outlaws that I first played, and so I sort of fell in love with it. Like the farm, the town is an open level design. We're dealing with a number of freestanding buildings, but more than that, we're dealing with a lot of miniaturized, self-contained puzzles. The thing is, the level ends not when you reach some endpoint, but when you kill enough enemies to summon Spittin' Jack Sanchez, who I learned from the manual is Mexican-American. The level ends when you gun him down, but he won't show up unless you solve some of these puzzles. How many are there? Find the iron key on top of the stove in the hotel to get to the rooms. Find the steel key locked behind the steel door. Find the pen so you can sign the guest book in the funeral home which opens up a secret door for some goddamn reason. Once you've done some combination of those things, Sanchez appears and you have it out with him. Fortunately, like most enemies, he's sort of a pushover.
Good shooting, mister, but you're already too late. Oops, you missed the train.
Ah, fuck, a train level. The bad guys detach the train engine and leave James stranded in the desert, where we get a glimpse of a dream that seems to hint at his tragic backstory, and goodness sakes, it's been another 10 minutes and I'm still talking. Join me again next time as I finish a tour of the game and talk about its place in the canon of great shooters. Nos vemos!